Well, we can speak now to the former Ukrainian Prime Minister, Arsenій Яценюk. Thank you very much for being with us. Well, we've just heard a little while ago from Mr. Peskov, President Putin's spokesman, that a flat denial, basically, of these war crimes in north of Kiev. I just wonder, he said it's staged and it's concocted.
Mark, thanks for having me. And first of all, let me tell you thank you. Thank you for the job you've done, because you was very vocal and you gave him the floor and you gave him the chance to answer any question you've raised. Everything that Mr. Peskov said, Mr. Peskov is the lips of President Putin, because Putin has his own voice, but this is the lips of Putin, was a complete deception, lie, hoax, and sham. Except four things, Mark. The first one is, for the first time, the lips of Putin recognized a very big death toll of the Russian military. The second issue, that for the first time, lips of Putin recognized that NATO is not an offensive, but defensive alliance. The third issue, for the first time, the lips of Putin recognized that they contemplate or deliberate an idea over whether Putin will sit behind the bars in the International Criminal Court. And last but not least, they recognize that they need to cut the deal with Ukraine, or otherwise they want to accomplish something that they decided. So for the rest of the stuff, this was a complete lie and deception. And this was disgusting, you know, Mark, just disgusting. Because I do believe that he doesn't believe any single word that he told you.
And where do you think this leaves? He was saying that they're going to carry on, and he talked about, I think the phrase he used was liberating Mariupol, but carrying on this war, essentially. Do you think that Ukraine can continue to resist?
Look, here is the thing. Let me remind you that an entire intelligence community was quite skeptical about the endurance or the strength of Ukrainian military. And there were very dire estimations that Russian military is to take over Ukraine in 3 or 5 days. It didn't happen. And there are a number of reasons why it didn't happen. The first and most important one is that we have very durable and strong military. We have united nation of Ukrainians. And we are fighting for our homeland. We are fighting for our freedom. We are fighting for our families. The second reason is that Putin severely underestimated the Western response. And I do commend the British government and British people, the United States, and the entire free world, including the European Union. You guys managed to join your ranks. You guys managed to speak in one voice. And it seems to me that you realized that this is the threat not just to Ukraine. This is the threat to the United Kingdom, to Brits, to Americans, to French, to Germans, to everyone who represents the free world. The third one is that he didn't expect this kind of severe and strong sanction. But my appeal to you and to your governments and to the European Union that, look, folks, you have to ramp up sanctions. Do it 24/7. We need to cut off any financial resources from the Russian war machine. And the fourth issue is that, please, deliver to Ukraine both lethal defensive and offensive weapon. We need to retake our territories. So I believe in Ukrainian victory, because this is the kind of global justice. We are fighting for the global freedom, and this justice will prevail. This is the same that happened with the Nazi Germany. This is the fate that Putin and his Nazi-style regime will face. And you just mentioned that the UN Security Council actually expelled Russia from the UN body on human rights. Absolutely. The same happened with Libya. You remember, and you just mentioned with Gaddafi. This is the end game of Putin. He is to face the same fate. And the history will judge him as not just a dictator, but as a real butcher and manslaughter.
Let me just ask you finally, do you worry that the West will, as this goes on, and it could go on for a very long time, do you worry that the West will be less willing to provide supply the weapons and to take the big moves on sanctions? Do you worry about that happening?
Look, we have just two options. Actually, we have one option, but I will deliberate on two options. The first option is if Ukraine fails, this would be a disaster and failure of the entire free world. This will lead to a new dictators, a new era of autocratic regimes in the world. Because Putin is not alone. Look, China today affiliated completely itself with Russia, right? Because they actually supported Russian position in the UN. But the key option we have on the table is that Ukraine is to prevail. Ukraine is to win this righteous war. Ukraine is to save the free world. And this is our joint task. And everyone in the EU and all around the world is to realize it's not just about us, folks. It's about your countries, your people, your freedom, your economy, your energy, and your security. It means our joint economy, freedom, and our joint future. So we have to fight like hell for our joint future. This is not about the value dominated in dollars. This is about the values, the bedrock of the free world. We have to defend these values and lives of Ukrainians and Ukrainian state.
Okay, Mr. Yacenyuk, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.